What's up, everybody? My name is AFarCryAway, and today I wanted to try out the GeForce Now streaming service. I am currently using the free version of it, and I do know that Stadia hasn't been doing so hot, so I wanted to check this one out, see if it's any good. And I've tried it on my phone as well as on the computer, and I have to say, I was only playing one game, and I believe I'm on whatever the default settings are for GeForce Now. There are multiple different settings you can use for it. But I have to say, my play session in Vermintide 2 went very smoothly. Now, of course, I lost at the end because I'm garbage, and there were a few hiccups here and there where the frame rate was dropping, and that could just be a circumstance of the game itself because there are moments where Vermintide 2 drops, especially on the medium and higher settings. And then I also noticed that there was some online latency as well, and I couldn't tell if it was me or the other people in the lobby that might have been causing that. And again, also sorry, in this video I'm not going to be recording like my hand on the mouse or anything for the input latency. The one thing that did remain consistent throughout the play session was the input delay. It's about, I think, 0.2 or 20 milliseconds delay. I think that's what I've been hearing. And yeah, you can definitely feel it in the mouse if you're used to playing the game on mouse and keyboard. However, if you're playing it on a controller, and maybe you're playing it on your phone, you won't, I mean, it'll still be noticeable, but maybe not as bad. But when you're on mouse and keyboard and you're used to having that high precision, it definitely does take a lot of that away from you. However, you can get used to it. So yes, your shots are not going to be as accurate, and it actually can be a little bit intimidating, especially on the harder difficulties to land shots because you don't want to hit your teammates with them. But you can still do it. You can still make it work. You can still get through a session. You might just have to adapt a little bit to it and maybe only use your ranged options on enemies that are closer to you than normal. So things like that are going to be a little bit harder. But like I said, once you get used to it, it basically just feels like you're playing the game like normal, with a few little hiccups of latency here and there and some pixelization on the screen, which admittedly does make it a little bit harder to identify enemies. But again, if you've played the game before or if you just play it a lot, you kind of get used to it. So in a way, it's almost like having an extra fog of war in front of you, in that it's going to be harder to make out targets in the distance because they do kind of tend to pixelate out a little bit and blend into the foreground and backgrounds and such. But like I said, Vermintide, it's a very melee focused game. People are going to be rushing you down a lot. Most of the combat is very in your face melee focused. So in this game, it's not really that big of a deal, and I think it plays quite well, and it's definitely a good showcase of what GeForce Now is capable of doing and what it can like provide to you. And honestly, I think my favorite thing about this whole thing is that, one, it's free if you want to play the default version of GeForce Now, which is already good enough because you get 1 hour of playtime that you can actually quit and then re-log into whenever you want, basically. And you can kind of keep playing from there. So if you're playing stuff online for over an hour, that could present issues, but as long as you have relatively short game sessions, it's like Vermintide, for example, it'll never be really that big of an issue. The other thing I really like about GeForce Now is the fact that if, say, something ever happens to my computer, it just breaks tomorrow, and my other computer breaks tomorrow, and all I have left is my phone, then I, technically speaking, still have a way to play this game with my friends if I wanted to. And that idea really excites me, and that's really a cool direction in the future for game streaming and everything. Now, granted, like I said, you have to have a really good internet connection to make this work. I think you have to have above 15 megabytes per second download speed. Ideally, you want to have 30, and even more ideally, you want to be in the 50 range. Now, I was going through a 5G network on my phone, and that felt really, really smooth. Didn't really notice any hiccups. But when I was on my computer, I was directly hooked in, and I did notice some more hiccups. But then again, I've also gotten more time to play on the computer. So again, this could all just be very, circumstantial. It could just be, for me, it's one way on the phone, one way on the computer, and then tomorrow it's way better, and then the next day it's way worse. Really, all of these things come down to server infrastructure and how the packets are being sent back and forth. But I have to say, overall, the fact that I could play a very consistent round of a game and have fun playing it and not feel like, oh, this is awful, is pretty much a victory in terms of streaming. And the fact that somebody who doesn't even have a gaming computer can now get in on this action, like you guys at home who might be watching this who have a console, you can play this right now. You can be a PC gamer tonight. Like, it can happen. You know, just plug in a mouse and keyboard into your old junker computer, download the GeForce Now client, you know, go on Steam, buy a copy of Vermintide, link the account to the GeForce Now account, and launch the game, go online, get some friends on there. Heck, maybe add me. I don't know. But maybe we can play some Vermintide. So, thank you guys for watching. I'll let the footage continue on till the end where we inevitably get massacred, but that's more of me being bad at the game than it was the NVidia problem. So, hope you guys enjoyed it. Oh, and last note here. This is 1080p. I had to lower it to medium. I didn't have to, but I just thought it might help with the latency a bit, as Vermintide 2 actually does have some issues with latency just baked into the game itself in terms of, you know, the frame rate can be all over the place depending on your settings. So yeah, that is all there is to say. I'll see you guys next time. Hope you enjoyed this video. Maybe leave a subscribe or a subscription or ring the bell or do any of those things other YouTubers ask you to do. Anyhow, see you next time.
What a shame! Over here! Here it comes! Hang yourself, Parker! Shall we face them together, Trooper? Down the hatch! Ocean cash!
I need ammunition. Here, this bridge.
Bit slovenly, he's down. I smell some ammunition. The beast is charging! Can't kill a doorway with those arrows, Dory. Ah, a warfire thrower! Kill the fruity before it fires! Ammunition! Thank Valaya! Anything the elf can kill, I can kill even more! She's doing all right, though, I'll give her that.